Hi guys, this is Stephen with Backyard Projects, and today don't know how this project is going to go, but I am going to build basically a table that I'm going to bury the legs in for my really fancy fountain to sit on. It's one of those fountains that has like the glass rain behind it. Basically, it's like a giant cell in the middle of my yard, and I don't want it to blow over. So I'm going to bury this table into the ground, and then I'm going to secure the bottom of the fountain to it so it doesn't blow over during the wind, because in Oklahoma we get a lot of wind. But anyway, so I'm gonna start this video and we'll see how it goes. I'm trying not to have to buy a whole bunch of wood and have to buy extra material, and I'm trying to not have a lot of waste. But anyway, okay, so let me show you what I'm doing. Alright, so basically I am taking a 8-foot 4x4 post, and I'm going to use that as my legs. So if you take an 8-foot post and you divide it up into 4, it's 24 inches. Now, if you get wood from like Home Depot or Lowe's, it's always a little longer than a foot. Sometimes it's a little smaller. So I went ahead and measured it out. I do have about a fourth too long. So I'm going to start at measuring at the bottom and just doing my 24, 48, and then I will go ahead and cut the excess off at the end. But in order to do this and not have, not trying to balance like a big board at the end, I'm going to go ahead and cut it in the middle at the 48. I've already measured it, by the way. But anyway, I'll just show you again. So I've already measured it at the 48. Just put a little notch there. And then take my T-square, that, and just mark it down. So I do this so it's kind of balanced and I'm not having to deal with that 8-foot board sticking at the end. So let's go ahead and cut this. See what I mean? It's kind of heavy. But now that I've done that, now this is a little easier to work with. So I've already measured this out to 24. Which comes out to be right there. Take my T-square. Who needs a guard? Nobody needs a guard. I'm kidding, you should have the guard on there. I'm gonna mark my 24. Another tip on this is that whenever I'm cutting it, I'm actually going to cut it right on the line. Because if I cut one side or the other, I'm gonna have one that's a little short. So I'm going to do it right on the line. Perfect. Alright, I'm gonna do the same on the other. Alright, so now that I'm to the end, and this is the part that the last part had a little extra. Let me show you. So if I'm cutting all at 24, here is my 24th mark. So you can see, that I have to cut off some of this extra, or this post is going to be longer than the others. Look at that, isn't that adorable? Just a little piece, it's like a little coaster. Anyway, okay, so now that we basically have our table, legs, now we just gotta build the sides of it. So let's do that. Alright, so my fountain is 18 by 32 inches. And so I have to have enough on the sides to be able to attach the eye hook so the strap can attach to it to where it'll hold it in place. So I'm going to do it at 40 inches. It kind of gives me some room to wiggle in case I need to. So my two sides I'm going to do at 40 inches. It is so cold here in Oklahoma. That's why I'm doing this up inside. Usually, I would just bury the 4 posts out in the dirt, and then I would build my table on top. But I've got to get this project done, and waiting for Oklahoma to warm up, it's like a challenge. Anyway, okay. So, cut it at 40. I tell you, pressure treated wood is so heavy, it's hard to work with. Alright. So a little trick that you can do, instead of having to measure out every single time, and to make sure that you have it exactly like it's supposed to, I take the wood that I just cut, and I put it on top, match it up, draw a line. And just know, whenever you're doing that, make sure you cut to the right of the line, because the line is exactly where the end of that wood is. And my attempt to not have any waste, I failed. I already failed at it, because I'm going to have waste. But I really do try not to. I'll use it somewhere. But anyway, so now I have my 240s. Alright, so now I have the length, now I need to do the depth. So the depth is, the fountain is 18 deep, so I'm going to make it 24 inches wide. I don't really necessarily need it to be a whole wide, just because the fountain's just going to sit on top of it and the eye hooks are going to be on the side. Also, take out the little tags. It drives me insane when people leave the tags on. Alright, 24. Like that. Alright. The same what I did with the 4x4 post, I'm going to do here too. So I have 24, and I'm going to have one at 48. Just makes life so much easier when you're not trying to hold up the wood. And remember, the one in the middle, you're going to do, you're going to cut it right in the middle, because you don't want your ends to be too far off. And if you cut it like I was talking, you'll have perfect. Well, I promise you it's perfect. I promise you it's perfect. But anyway, end. Alright, so now that I have my my wood cut, now I just got to put it all together. And I'm going to use 3.5 or the 3.25. It's either 3.5 or 3.25. The box is so worn out I can't tell anymore. So now that I have it together, I'm going to screw it together. Taking my angle and just kind of the other thing that you want to do is make sure that it's straight up and down. You don't want it to be twisted or misshapen. There you go. Alright, so let's do the other side. The other thing you can do is just go ahead and get your screws going. Alright, so I have it all lined out. Right where it needs to go. Everything is straight. Everything is square. Alright. Remeasure. Make sure things are straight. It's supposed to be. Perfect. Alright, so now to the next side. Alright, a little helpful hint. So whenever you're doing this, go ahead and start your screws. Go ahead and start your screws. It just makes things easier whenever you're trying to make sure everything is square, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be when you're doing it. Okay, also on here, make sure that this is flat. Because I have a hard surface, I'm able just to push it down. Because if you notice, like, it's at a little bit of different height. So you make sure that whenever you're turning it, you always make sure that one side is flat. So I have my table. Alright, so now that we have the top done, I have my post cut, now I need to attach the legs to the post. And I have a little trick that I'm going to show you on that. Alright, so let's do it. And if you hear anything in the background, it's because my heater. It is like 20 degrees outside. That's why I'm doing this in the garage. So, anyway, it's a gardener's life, you know? We work when we can. Alright, so let's show you. Alright, so in order to get my posts where I need them to be, I take one of my leftover pieces, go ahead and put it down into the corner, take my post, put it there, make sure everything is square, nice and pretty. Everybody likes nice and pretty. And then I'm going to start my screws. Just so that thing doesn't hit me, I'm going to go ahead and get my screws going. I'm going to do 2 on each side. Now, I know that sounds like it's kind of an overkill, but I really like this sound and I don't want it to fall down. You don't want them to stick all the way through, you just want to get them going. Alright, take my board, take my 4x4, and real important that you don't let any screws stick out. Because if so, it's going to throw all your cuts off. Alright, and instead of doing this one, I'm going to go ahead and do this one next, just so it's where it needs to be. Take out the board that was holding it. Now I have perfect size that I need. Alright, so let me go ahead and do the next board. Alright, so when you're all done, you should have something. Did I mention I hate pressure treated? Like that. Perfect. So, now that I have my box, now I need to put my wood that goes across. So, let's do that. Alright, so for me to get the perfect measurement, now mind you, this is going to be a little shorter in the middle than it was on these outsides because I put the wood on the inside of my 24s. So, I take it, and this one is 36 7/8. So, I'm going to go ahead and do 36 7/8, but I'm going to cut it on the longer side. Let me show you. Alright, so my opening is 36 7/8. 36 7/8. But I'm going to cut it just one little notch taller because I want it to be pretty tight in there. That and this wood is going to, even though it's pressure treated, it's going to shrink a little. In my experience, it's always better just to cut a little bit too much. There we go. Important to make sure it's perfect. I had to get a hammer because it's a little tight, which is what I want. Remember, I want the top to be completely level and flat. Alright, I'm not going to screw this in until I get my other two boards in first. That's how you know it's good. Holds up all on its own. Okay, so I went ahead and cut my other two boards at 36 and 7/8 too. Oh, I hate these things. I'm telling you, if you don't take off those little tags, they will throw off your cuts. Anyway, okay. Now, I'm gonna flip that over because I don't like the writing. Well, I need another board. I was really trying not to have to buy another 2x4, but I think it just looks strange if I don't. So, let me go get another 2x4. Alright, finally got back from Home Depot. I love Home Depot. I go there like 3 times a day, like every day of the week. But I wanted to show you this. So, I needed a 2x4. Well, if you go to Home Depot, if you get it with the little purple dot, well then it saves you. They take off like 70% of the original price. And so you just have to go and make sure and check it out. So on this 2x4, 8 foot, I spent $1.15. Now this board is warped. It is warped, but I'm only needing like 36 inches. So I can pretty much cut around it. And what I'm using it for, I don't really necessarily need it to be completely flat. So it's not that big of a deal. I try to recycle if I can. Just because my backyard stuff's expensive anyway. So anyway, alright, so let's cut this. Alright, let's go ahead and screw in my 2 pieces at the end, and then I'll find the middle and I'll screw this one in. Alright, so let me go ahead and get this other side done and I'll catch up with you. Alright, so I went ahead and put on the other 2 boards and I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But the problem that I'm running into is because that board that I had is warped, well now my top is not completely flat. So my solution on that is to go ahead and put my leftover boards that I had, I'm going to put them in the middle, and I'll put this one in the end, which will suck it all in. It'll make it all perfectly flat, and it'll help straighten out my boards. So let's do that. Now I know this is going to seem like a lot of screws, and it kind of is, but this fountain is very important to me. In trying to conserve as much as I could, this is the only extra piece, and I thought about doing one there in the middle, but I thought that would just be a waste of screws. So, anyway, alright, well, let's turn this over. Holy mackerel. This thing weighs a ton. Oh! It is a beast, for sure. Did not get my spacing there. Tonight, but hey, it's gonna be hidden anyway. Alright, so now that I have all of my boards in, everything is where it needs to be. And now I'm going to put in my eye hooks. Basically, well, it is finished, it is built. So now I just have to go and put it out in the yard and see exactly where it is that I want to put it. Hi guys, okay, so it's the next day, and now that I have my table done, now I have to find a nice place to put it in between, and I've decided to kind of go in between the fence. So there it is. So now I just have to, I've already marked out the lines where it's going to go, so now I just got to move that, dig the holes, and get it nice and level, and then I can pour the concrete and get my fountain going. Alright, so now I have my holes dug. Now I've got to figure out how off I am on my leveling. So let's go ahead and put it in place. You know, that's not terribly bad. I was thinking that I was going to be way off more than I am, so that's good news. So now I just have to make sure that it's leveled, and then we'll get in some concrete. Alright, so now that I have it all leveled and everything, I'm going to pull it back out. I'm going to show you a little trick that I've done in the past that helps me whenever I'm getting the concrete going. So let me do that. Alright, so this is what I do with some of my posts that I definitely don't ever want to go anywhere. I put some screws in the post, and I kind of leave them hanging out there. Like that, and I just kind of stagger them a little bit. So the reason why I do this is because whenever it's down in the hole, I'm mixing the concrete has something more to hold. The fountain that's going on top of this is very like it's like basically a sheet of glass, and it's like a giant sail in the air. So I really want this to not ever move. That, and it's kind of an expensive fountain, so I don't want it to break or fall over, because that would suck. But anyway, so I put screws like just kind of here and there up on the post, just so whenever I pour the concrete has something to set. So that's what I'm gonna do. So let me do that real quick. So what I like to do whenever I'm getting my concrete ready is that I go ahead and wet the hole a little bit. So let's do that. So now that everything is done in concrete, now I'm going to stain it, and the only stain that I have right now is concrete stain, which is fine. I just basically wanted to stain it nice and dark because this is going to be hidden by like tons of plants. So I just want it black just to hide it, just to make it go away. It's still kind of wet. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be painted, and I want to get my fountain on here. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get it stained. This stuff almost looks like it's blue. I did shake it before I brought it out here, but so I was going to just kind of try to mix some of it up. I don't know how well this is going to work. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, well, it's finally turning black. It was like a dark blue for like the longest time, but it's finally getting there. I am going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to put another coat on it. Just to make sure that it's nice and good. So, anyway, alright, till next time. Well, and for the next hour. Good morning. So it's 2 days later. I ended up finishing up this, which turned out amazing. It's like really dark and black, which whenever I was putting it on, it was blue. So I was like, well, I guess we'll just see. My dog, he's trying to love on me. Anyway, so the reason why it took me 2 days is because, well, one day it was really super windy and I'm fixing to put up this fountain and I didn't want it to blow over. And two, I went ahead and got on Amazon and I ordered 2 black ratchet straps because I want it to be hidden. So that is why it took me a couple days. So here are my ratchets. Yay, they're black. Sebastian, stop, go. Anyway, my dog is trying to love on me. It's a great thing about a golden retriever. No matter how much loving you give them, they still want more. It's either that or they just want a treat. Alright, so now I have my straps, which are black, which I'm hoping that it'll make it disappear. Alright, so let me go grab my beautiful fountain. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, let's get these straps on. It does have these little covers, which is good, because I'm gonna hide it with rock and stuff. But I feel like it's kind of pointless because I am gonna have plants like all through it, so you won't even see the bottom of it. That's why I went with black. Okay. All right, let's get it ratchet down. Okay, so here I want my ratchet to be here, to where it's hidden. And the problem is this is too long, so I folded it in, tied it in a knot, just like this. So now it is exactly where I want it to be. I'm gonna do it a little loose. Alright, so finally have it done. Now I'm just gonna cut off just a little extra. Alright, so whenever you're cutting these, to keep it from fraying, you just take a lighter and just melt the bottom. And that creates a little, keeps it from fraying out. There we go. I tried to find some that were shorter so I didn't have to cut them, but could not find them. Something else that I did was I turned the hooks this way so this is not rubbing into that, because I don't want this to get damaged in any way. Yay, it is all done. So I have been waiting to do this and I had this envision the entire time, but I just had to get it done. And it is kind of dirty right now, but it's because it's like 27 degrees outside and I don't want to just go and spray water on my fountain just because I don't want it to break. But anyway, so it is all done. Yay. Can you imagine it with like plants and greenery and bananas and palms? It's gonna be exciting. I'm excited. Anyway, well, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.